we're going to throw what everyone knows as being the best punch in any form of striking art, which is the big right hand. Now, the big right hand, not always, but normally it is the most powerful punch that you can throw. Now, hopefully I can try and explain how a big punch is thrown through your right hand. Okay, now, the power of a punch, some people say that it comes from your hip, some people say it comes from your arm, some people say it comes from your hand. How a punch is created, believe it or not, is through the big toe. Now, the big toe actually is stuck into the ground when you throw a punch. What you need to try and imagine is that you have a tent peg over your big toe and stuck into the ground so that it can't move. And that is where the power is created. Some people say the 3 H's, which is the heel, the hip, then the hand. But what they do miss out is the big toe. If you are not planted into that ground, then there's no power coming through onto your fist. What a lot of people do is they throw a punch and they lift the foot off the ground. When they lift the foot off the ground, it loses approximately 60% of the power. What some people also do is what they call is float. Is what when they punch, is their foot actually slides across the floor, which is reducing power, which obviously again you're losing approximately 60% of that punch. So every time you throw a punch, you need to have your foot planted on the ground. Okay, so once your foot is planted on the ground, it then travels up through your heel, up through your hip, up through your body, through your arm, and out the end of the punch. But that's not all. You also need to create power through your hip. So when I throw the punch, I bring my hip forward, creating power through the end of the punch. Now, again, just like the jab, we need to turn our fist. My hand at the moment is up at my thumb is up at the 12 o'clock position. When I turn it, I'm actually going to turn the clock back to the 9 o'clock position. So my thumb is at the 9. When it comes back, it's at the 12. That is the power using the twist of the arm. So I'm going to demonstrate nice and slow as Lee holds the pad, a right cross. Now obviously we're going to do this in slow motion, so it's not going to look as powerful. But remember, while one attacks, the other protects. So my left hand is going to stay there on the jaw as I throw the right hand. So I plant my big toe into the ground. I'm going to travel up through my heel, up my leg, through my hip. My hip's going to come forward as I twist my body. I twist the hand to the quarter past position, and then I strike the pad. Once again, you have to imagine there's a railway track from your fist through that pad out the end, and then I throw the punch. Now, what I need to try and create is I need to try, if you imagine that you have a piece of string, a piece of rope on your hip, hanging down there about 2 foot long with a knot on the end. Now, if I throw that punch and that string just swings like this, I'm not using my hips to create power. I need to be able to throw my hip so that the string comes around and actually hits Lee or comes across the front of Lee like that. That way you will know that you've thrown your hips into power. So I'm going to show you once again slow motion, and I'm going to do 1 or 2 really hard shots. So again, from here, I push with the toe, up through the hip, I push my hip forward to create that little bit of power. As I push my hip forward, it comes up through my body, through my arm, and out the end, here. Now what you also have to do is, I see people throwing punches and they do what's called a bent arm punch. Now, they can do everything correct, but as they hit, their arm is bent. It is like that. Now the power of a punch is only created when the punch reaches its end of its power, reach the end of its target. So if I'm hitting that pad, I don't want to end the punch as I hit the pad. I want to end the punch behind the pad. If it's Lee's jaw, I don't want to punch Lee and stop once I've hit his jaw and have a bent arm punch. I want to punch and follow all the way through. This creates more power, hence ending up in a knockout punch. So right, now I've explained through the toe, through the heel, up through the hip, hitting through, use that hip as if you were striking them with the hip. Strike with the hip, up through the body, through the end of the arm, straight as you can, and make sure that the punch ends up right at the end. And this is what it should look like. Swinging your hips. Big right hand knockout.